Hey guys, this time I will show you how to knit such a beanie, and it is very easy for beginners. And you have here an elastic border, and it is a long beanie, but you can also knit it in a short version. I won't show you how to knit the letters, but I will show you this in another video. So let's start. For this tutorial I'm using acrylic yarn and 3.5 knitting needles. First we have to knit a swatch so that we can have a look how many stitches we need for our head. And I will show you how to calculate this. I have here my swatch with 20 stitches. And my 20 stitches, they measure 9.7 centimeters. So if you have here your swatch, and then it will tell you that it is 9.7 centimeters. So then you need the size of the head, and I will do this for a head with 57 centimeters. And if you knit the head, it should be 1 or 2 centimeters less than the head itself. So now we divide our centimeters with 9.7 centimeters, and we get a number. So I think you will have another one. So my number is 5.7, and then we have to multiply this number with our number of stitches of the swatch. So I have 20 stitches multiplied by 5.7, and then we get the number how many stitches we need for our head. So if you don't understand this, then take it as it is and calculate your stitches and don't think about it. Okay, so we will start by casting on 114 stitches. To cast on 114 stitches, you will need a lot of yarn. So I will create my slip knot here. And to make the slip knot, create a circle. Put the long string under the circle, pull it through, and then you have a loop here. And insert both needles into this loop and then tighten. I use both needles because the casting on is way more elastic. Then you have to tension both strands. This one is the short one, this one is the long one. And if you tension them, take your needles under this strand and push the opposite strand through this loop. And this is how to make new stitches. Tension your strands, go under the thumb strand, take the opposite and push it through, and then tighten. Under and push the other strand through. And we have to do this until we have 114 stitches. Of course you can do this only with one needle, but then you have to make sure that you do not tension it too high, otherwise it will be too tight. So these are our 114 stitches, and now we will start with a ribbing stitch or rib stitch, and we will repeat purl 1, no not 1, purl 4, knit 4, yeah. So the first row will be knit 4, purl 4, or purl 4, knit 4, so I start with purling, and for this take your yarn and take it to the front side of your needle. Then insert your needle on the front side of the stitch from above, grab your yarn, pull it through the stitch and take the stitch to the other side. Again, take your yarn to the front, insert the needle from above, grab the yarn, pull it through the stitch and take the stitch to the other side. Insert your needle from above, grab the yarn, pull it up and take it to the other side. So now the forced purling. And now we have to knit 4. For this I'm using the back side of the stitch. I insert my needle from above, grab the yarn, pull it through the stitch and take it to the other needle. Insert my needle from above, grab the yarn, pull it through. So we need 2 more. And now we have again to purl 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now again knit 4. And repeat this pattern until the end of the row. If you finish your row and you start another one, maybe you have the question, should I purl or should I knit now? And you can see this quite easily. And you have to turn your work towards this direction, and then you have to have a look at your long strand. With this one we are knitting, and if your strand is on the front side of the needle, then you have to purl. If it's on the back side, you have to knit. So this time my strand is on the front side and I will knit the first stitches. No, I will purl, sorry. This is purling. I will purl them. And if you now have a look at your work, you will see that this strand of your stitch is also here. So it is on the back side, and from this point on you have to knit. So now you can see this strand is on the front side. And this tells me that I have to purl. Now it is on the back side again. It's here. And it is connected with the back side of the stitch. And now I have to knit. Knit so many rows until you have reached the width of your border for the hat. If you have reached the length or the width for your edging, then you turn to the stockinette stitch. For the stockinette stitch, we will knit 1 row the knit stitch, the second row purl stitch, or first purl stitch and then the knit stitch. And I started already here the knit stitch, and I will continue this. So we change our pattern at this point, or at this row. So for me, and this is also the knit stitch. I have basic knitting videos, so you can watch the tutorials, and there I show you how to knit the knit stitch in 2 different ways. And yeah, you knit with the knit stitch all the row until the end. And the width here doesn't matter how many rows. You can make it so long as you like. And the stockinette stitch will be the length for our head or for a beanie. And you continue knitting all the rows until you have your desired length for the head, and afterwards we will decrease to close our head. So yeah, this row knit stitch, next one purl stitch, then the 3rd row knit stitched again, the 4th row purl stitch, and so on. This is the 2nd row, and I purled the 2nd row. And for this, insert the needle from above onto the front side, grab the yarn, pull the yarn through, and take it to the other side. And as you can see here, we will have the stockinette stitch that this side will look like purl, or the garter stitch. So this is only purling, this is the garter stitch. And then on this side we will have these chains. So this is the stockinette stitch. And the next row will be the knit stitch, and then the purl stitch again, and so on. I have reached my desired length for the beanie, and now I will decrease, and I will start decreasing every 26th stitch for this row. The next row I will decrease every 25th stitch. The 3rd row I will decrease every 24th stitch, and so on. If you use the same yarn strength, so that it fits 3mm needles, and you have also the same perimeter, so I have 55 centimeters for this head, so you can also decrease at 26 stitch. If you have a thicker yarn, then maybe you will decrease every 15th stitch or every 20th stitch. And if your yarn is thinner, then you maybe start decreasing at every 30, yeah, at every 30 stitch. Yeah. Okay, we start decreasing at every 26 stitch. To decrease in every 26 stitch, we have first to knit 25 stitches. So you knit your stitches and you count 25 normal knitting stitches. It doesn't matter which pattern you have, it works with every. So I knitted 25 stitches. And now we have to decrease, and to decrease, insert your needle into the next 2 stitches, and you knit it in the normal way as you would knit only 1 stitch. So take the yarn, pull it through both stitches and take the stitch to the other needle. So this was a decrease. And now you do again the same. You knit 25 stitches with your pattern, and then you decrease in the 26th stitch. And then again you knit 25 stitches and you decrease once. And if you, maybe your last decrease was here and you have 10 stitches left, then knit them in your normal way and don't think about it. It doesn't matter if you didn't have the last decrease or whatever. It doesn't matter. So, and if this row, if you knit it all across until the end of the row, then the next row will be knit 24 and decrease at the 25th stitch. The third row will be knit 23 and decrease at the 24th stitch, and so on until you have maybe 5 stitches left on your needles or something like this. So this is our beanie, and we have here our 5 stitches, and this area is all decreasing. And now turn your work inside out, and we have here our long strand from the beginning. We made here the slip knot, and then you take your sewing needle and you can sew. Put both ends together that you have your edges here, and then you can sew it all the way across. Make sure that these two edges fit well. They should face each other really good. Otherwise you will have, it won't look very nice. And then you sew it all across here. And at the end, you have here these 5 stitches, and then you pull your strand with the needle through all these 5 stitches. Then you can pull your needles out of your work, and then you can tighten it, make a knot, and you're done.